Greetings, comrades. Coming to you from down here, on Earth, in the laboratory. It would seem they are not planning to slow down anytime soon. In fact, it would seem they are only trying their best to speed things up as quickly as possible. And it went from light speed to ludicrous speed real quick.
Prepare ship for light speed!
No, light speed is too slow.
Light speed too slow?
Yes, we're gonna have to go right to ludicrous speed.
It appears they're working on a new bill, a digital identification bill. This digital identification bill is already sweeping through Congress.
Prepare ship! Prepare ship for ludicrous speed! Fasten all seatbelts! Seal all entrances and exits! Close all shops in the mall! Cancel the free-range circus! Secure all animals in the zoo!
Now, we have already been talking about the rise of the digital economy and how it is already in operation in a lot of places, and many places are executing central bank digital currency trials as we speak, including the United States. We know during the pandemic they used a digital vaccine passport system in some places. I believe this was foreshadowing the actual digital ID that they are trying to push on us right now. They are offering chip implants in your hand, linked to your bank account, to pay for goods and replace your wallet and keys, as well as offering chips embedded in your skull, linked to your brain. So they must have their digital ID system. All of these things, I believe, run chip in hand. Hand in hand. Let's take a look at some of these articles. New U.S. Digital Identity Act expected to pass, paving the way for next generation ID. A new U.S. Digital Identity Bill is steadily making its way through Congress. The Improving Digital Identity Act has been reviewed by the House Committee on Oversight and Reform and is expected to pass through once the committee returns from its recess. A nearly identical version of the bill has also been introduced in the Senate, which means that it is one step closer to becoming law. Once passed, the Identity Act would give the federal government the legislative foundations it needs to start providing a digital ID service for American citizens. Lawmakers are hoping that digital IDs will help facilitate economic activity and give people a secure way to verify their identities in online interactions. However, the bill stresses that the service should only be offered on an opt-in basis, with the Senate version going so far as to state that the government cannot require digital IDs for any specific interaction. That clause should presumably help smooth over some of the privacy concerns that emerged after the IRS tried to make I.D.I.A mandatory for online users. On that front, the bills would similarly prevent the government from creating a centralized national digital identity database, since such a database would present an attractive target for cyber criminals. The bill instead suggests that the government's digital ID program should supplement existing digital ID offerings from the private sector. The Senate version of the bill goes on to establish a digital identity task force on a Department of Homeland Security grant program to help encourage the development of interoperable digital IDs. With interoperable IDs, people would be able to use the same credential when interacting with federal, state, and local level government agencies. The government is hoping that a digital identity bill will help counter the rising threat of identity fraud. The losses attributed to identity fraud jumped from $16.9 billion in 2019 to $56 billion in 2020 as people started doing more business online during the pandemic. So, under the guise of countering the rising threat of identity fraud, they want to switch us over to digital identifications. Right now, they're saying it should only be offered on an opt-in basis. So people will say, well, okay, cool, more options. I like more options. Then they will just happily go along with it. Then boom, an already rapidly failing economy crashes. Physical money becomes worthless. All that's left is digital dollars, and along with it, your all-new, once-in-a-lifetime personal digital identification. So in this case, we don't want more options. Keep your digital identification options to yourself, please. Thanks. This article is also suggesting that the Improving Digital Identity Act, or the I.D.I.A, once passed, will establish a digital identity task force. What is a digital identity task force? Is there an actual definition for a digital identity task force? Are they like the FBI? Do they get guns? I'm looking it up right now. Definition of digital identity task force. There's no clear definition of what it even is. But here's the actual bill. Might as well take a look at that. Alright, here it is, straight out of the snake's mouth. Congress.gov. S.4528, Improving Digital Identity Act of 2022. Senate Homeland Security and Government Affairs. The 117th Congress, 2021 to 2022. To establish a government-wide approach to improving digital identity and for other purposes. This is a government document. Maybe you could define what those other purposes are. Other purposes. That is very broad. Look at this. They scribbled the entire bill out. I mean, is it already in effect so they crossed it off their list? Is that how the government documents work and I'm just unaware of it? Once they have had the meeting, they cross it out like they're checking it off their list. This bill is completed. We must scribble it out. Commence the official scribbling. Oh, good grief. Okay, guys, that's enough of this. That's enough. Enough nonsense for today. They're bringing digital identities to the United States of America, whether we like it or not. Conveniently, right before the economy looks like it's going to collapse, they start coming out with digital everything. This is going to be their solution whenever that happens. Their solution is not our solution. Their solution is our problem. And their problem is they don't have enough control over us to do what they really want to do with us yet anyways. I got a real bad feeling about all this digital stuff. I highly advise not supporting and staying away from the new things they're putting out. You know in your heart where this is heading fast. The Bible says in James chapter 1, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking anything. If any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed by the wind. That person should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do. Stay vigilant, friends. God bless you all, in Jesus Christ's mighty name."